Let's talk about Portugal, the country perched on the far western edge of Spain where Europe seems to lean out over the Atlantic, as if peering into the great blue unknown. Portugal gazes out at the endless Atlantic, almost daring the rest of Europe to imagine what lies beyond the horizon. It's a place where the land meets the sea with a sense of anticipation and adventure. This is Europe's dramatic balcony, a breathtaking ledge where the continent just stops. The cliffs drop away, and suddenly there's nothing but ocean and sky. Long before Ronaldo's dazzling footwork or the sweet aroma of pastéis de nata, Portugal was a wild, windswept frontier, the last outpost before the mysteries of the Atlantic. Here, ancient Celtic tribes, Roman legions, Germanic invaders, and Moorish scholars all clashed, mingled, and left their mark. The result? A cultural blend as rich and layered as a geopolitical smoothie with flavors from every era. The landscape is pure drama, rugged mountains that rise like ancient sentinels, rolling golden plains that stretch for miles, and a wild, untamed coastline battered by the relentless Atlantic waves, shaping the land and the people who call it home. For centuries, the sea wasn't just a beautiful backdrop, it was a source of food, a highway for trade, and a constant challenge that shaped the character and resilience of the Portuguese people. It's no wonder that, eventually, the Portuguese would become legendary explorers, setting sail into the unknown and changing the world forever. In this chapter, we'll dive into how this small, stubborn country became a global heavyweight. From the ancient Celtic tribes to the wisdom of Moorish scholars, every wave of people, every conqueror and settler left a unique imprint on Portugal's DNA, creating a nation unlike any other in Europe. This is the story of a nation that saw the ocean not as an end, but as a beginning, a launchpad for dreams, discoveries, and adventures that would echo around the world. Long before Lisbon's espresso bars, Portugal was home to the Lusitanians, tough, independent tribes led by the legendary Viriathus. Viriathus, a shepherd-turned-warrior, outsmarted the Romans for years until they resorted to assassination. These tribes weren't just fighters, they had Celtic roots, bringing bagpipes, hilltop forts, and a mystical connection to nature. Life was hard. You farmed, herded, and fought, sometimes all in one day. Their society was a chaotic patchwork of clans, making them nearly impossible to conquer. The Lusitanians' fierce independence became the bedrock of Portuguese identity. Picture stone forts on windswept hills, not grand temples. These people left a spirit of resistance, not monuments. They didn't need a flag to know who they were. Their stubbornness and love for their land set the stage for everything that followed. The original Portuguese spirit was born here, long before the country had a name. They proved you don't need a crown to fight for your home. The Romans finally conquered Lusitania in the 2nd century BC, after decades of fierce resistance from local tribes. Their arrival marked the beginning of a new era for the region, as Roman legions marched across the rugged Iberian landscape, determined to bring order and unity to these ancient lands. They transformed scattered hill forts and isolated villages into bustling cities, introducing urban planning and architecture that would shape the land for centuries. Roads, bridges, and aqueducts sprang up across the countryside, laying the foundation for modern Portugal and connecting people as never before. Latin arrived with the conquerors, gradually evolving into Portuguese, and forever changing the way people spoke, wrote, and thought. Roman law, currency, and public baths became part of daily life, introducing new customs, systems of justice, and even leisure activities to the local population. Vineyards and olive groves flourished under Roman care, starting Portugal's enduring love affair with wine and olive oil, traditions that still define its cuisine today. The Romans didn't just conquer, they absorbed, merging local leaders and gods into their own system, creating a unique blend of cultures and beliefs. A distinctive Hispano-Roman culture emerged, togas, amphitheaters, and even tax complaints included, where Roman traditions mixed with local customs. Tribal identities faded as people became citizens of the vast Roman Empire, gaining new rights and responsibilities, and a sense of belonging to something greater. The Pax Romana brought peace and prosperity, allowing trade, art, and learning to flourish. But this golden age would not last forever. Still, the Roman legacy is everywhere, in language, law, food, and the very stones of ancient cities, woven into the fabric of modern Portugal. The Romans turned a land of warriors into a connected, productive province, fostering agriculture, commerce, and a shared identity. The groundwork was set for Portugal's future as a bridge between worlds, a crossroads of cultures, ideas, and trade. The Romans made Portugal part of something bigger, and left a mark that endures, echoing through the ages in every corner of the country. As the mighty Roman Empire crumbled in the 5th century, waves of Germanic tribes surged across its weakened borders. Among them were the Suebi and the Visigoths, both seeking new lands and opportunities in the chaos left behind by Rome's collapse. These tribes didn't just invade, they transformed the landscape, bringing their own customs and ambitions. The Suebi carved out a kingdom in the northwest of the Iberian Peninsula, ruling over a mostly Roman population. Imagine a scrappy startup suddenly trying to run Google, awkward, ambitious, and a little out of their depth. Their rule was a blend of Germanic warrior culture and lingering Roman traditions, but their grip on power was always uncertain, threatened by rivals and internal strife. Soon, the Visigoths swept in, determined to unify the peninsula from their new capital in Toledo. They dreamed of restoring order, but reality was far more complicated. The Visigoths faced constant challenges, adapting to Roman culture, navigating deep religious divisions, and dealing with endless noble infighting. Think Game of Thrones, but with even more confusion and betrayal. As the grand Roman cities faded, trade routes broke down, and daily life became more local, isolated, and dangerous. The sense of a unified empire was lost. Yet, not everything vanished. Roman law and the Catholic Church endured, acting as lifelines that preserved knowledge, culture, and a sense of continuity through the chaos. This turbulent era shattered old empires and created a patchwork of small kingdoms and territories, the fragmented landscape from which Portugal would one day emerge. It wasn't a true dark age, but a messy, creative transition, a time of endings and new beginnings. In the midst of turmoil, the seeds of a new nation were quietly sown, taking root in the uncertainty and change. Portugal's future independence was forged in these uncertain times, shaped by the resilience and adaptability of its people. In 711, the Moors, Arabs and Berbers from North Africa, crossed into Iberia, quickly toppling the Visigothic kingdom. They brought advanced knowledge, mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and new crops like oranges and almonds. Moorish rule turned southern Portugal into a garden, with cities like Lisbon and Silves thriving as centers of culture and commerce. Al-Andalus was a beacon of learning where Muslim, Christian, and Jewish communities often coexisted. The region's architecture, language, and cuisine still show this influence. Just look for words starting with Ale. It wasn't a perfect utopia, but it was more tolerant than much of Europe at the time. The Moors left a deep, lasting imprint on Portuguese identity. They were co-authors of Portugal's unique blend of cultures. While the south thrived under Moorish rule, Christian kingdoms in the north began the long Reconquista. The county of Portugal, a frontier territory, became the launching pad for resistance. Enter Afonso Henriques, son of the count, who wasn't content to answer to Leon. After a dramatic family feud, Afonso took control and turned his sights south. In 1139, at the Battle of Ourique, legend says Afonso had a vision and led his outnumbered army to victory. His men proclaimed him King of Portugal. Myth or not, the victory was real and symbolic. The county started acting like an independent kingdom. Portugal's fight for identity and independence had truly begun. The stage was set for a new nation to emerge. The dream of Portugal was now a reality. With Afonso Henriques crowned, Portugal pushed south, capturing cities and forging a feudal society built for expansion. By 1249, the borders of Portugal were nearly set, matching today's map. Hemmed in by Castile and the Atlantic, Portugal turned inward, then outward, to the sea. King Dinis, the farmer king, planted forests for shipbuilding, preparing for a maritime future. The ocean became a highway, not a barrier. Generations of sailors and a hunger for trade set the stage for something bigger. The Portuguese wanted a direct route to the riches of the East, bypassing middlemen. By the end of the medieval era, Portugal had a strong identity, skilled sailors, and a burning ambition. The Reconquista spirit and geographic isolation fueled innovation. This tiny kingdom was ready to launch the Age of Discovery. Portugal was about to show the world what Europe's balcony could do. The global adventure was just beginning,